Hello everyone. In the two previous parts, we saw how we can customize our texts and how to align them. As promised, let's see in this third part how we can now give color to all this. So, let's see how we can modify the text color, the background color, and even how to put a background image. Let's start with how to colorize our texts. For this we will use the function color. If you remember, we already saw this function in the basics of CSS. Good, so this function allows you to set the color of the text in the tag where it is. We also glimpsed that we could define the color by its name. Indeed, and this is the first possibility, because there are others that we will also see. Okay, so let's see how to set the color with a color name. Of course, the color names are in English, and there are only 16 basic standard colors. There are other names for other colors, but I recommend that you don't use them, as they may not work in all browsers. In short, here is the list of standard colors. White, for white. Silver, for light gray. Gray, for medium gray. Black, for black. Red, for red. Maroon, for maroon brown. Lime, for light green. Green, for green. Yellow, for yellow. Olive, for olive green. Blue, for medium blue. Navy, for dark blue. Fuchsia, for fuchsia pink. Purple, for purple. Aqua, for light blue. And teal, for a blue-green. So if we open our site in our text editor, we can set the colors for the title and for the paragraph like this. We add the color function, with the value, blue, for our title, so to the tag, h1. And also the function, color, with the value, aqua, in our paragraph. You can of course choose the colors of your choice. Let's save the CSS code and open our page in the browser. Yes, indeed, our title is indeed in blue, and our paragraph in light blue, but our name is also in light blue, and yet, it is located in another tag, in this case, in a tag em. Indeed, this is due to what is called inheritance. If you remember, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and so if we define a function for a tag, all the tags contained in it will also receive this function. If we want to give a different value to a tag included in another, we must expressly define this value. So, if we want our name to be written in black, we have to specify it for the em tag, like this. Let's check it in our browser. And yes, now our name is written in black, and not in blue, as its tag specifies. So it's always the most precise tag that defines the style of its content. If it has no precise style, then it will be the parent tag, and so on, up to the default values if no function defines a style in all the tags surrounding the designated content. Good, but that only gives us a very limited choice of colors. 16, while the screens can display 16 million. Yes, notice that if we had to name the 16 million, it would be a lot. So there is a second way to define our colors very precisely. It is a giving the code of the desired color. This code can be defined in two different ways. Either in hexadecimal or in RGB. The hexadecimal will give the values of red, green, and blue, which make up the desired color. This value will be written as follows. First, a hash, which will stipulate that it is a hexadecimal code, then, 3 groups of 2 values, 1 group per color. The values go from 0 to 9, and from A to F. At 000000 we will have black, and at FFFFFF we will have white. For example, red would be FF0000. And either in RGB, or R for red, G for green, and B for blue, which works the same way as hexadecimal, with 3 values between 0 and 255 for each channel. Taking the example of red, we would have 255, 0, 0. For either way, we used the same function, that is, color, and for the hexadecimal, we put a hash mark, followed by the code, the 6 values, without spaces. And, for RGB, we write RGB and put the 3 values in a parenthesis, separated by commas, like this. Yes, that's all very well, but madam, how do we find the code corresponding to the color we want? For the hexadecimal, you must have software, such as Photoshop, which, if you click on the defined color or the background color, will open an editor, in which you can define your desired color, then retrieve the hexadecimal code of that here in the small insert. Don't forget the hash mark. For the RGB, of course, we can proceed in the same way. The code appears on the right under the 3 values, R, G, and B. But everyone does not have Photoshop, and to recover the RGB code from a color, the software, Paint, integrated into Windows, will allow you to do this. At the top right you have an icon to open the color mixer. Click on it, and, in the new window, you can define your desired color, and retrieve the RGB code, as in Photoshop. If you really want to write it in hexadecimal, you can convert the 3 values R, G, and B, with the integrated calculator, in computer mode, and write them one after the other after the sharp. If your values are less than 16, you will only have a number in hexadecimal, then you must add a 0 as the second value. That's it, we can now define exactly the desired colors for each of the text elements. Well, now let's see the background screen, or simply, background. To set the background color, it is exactly like for the color of a text, except that we will use the function, background color, and let the value of the color by its name. Or in hexadecimal. Or either in RGB. Well, I want the background of my page to be black. So, I'm going to set this for my whole page, and therefore, for the tag, body. Yes, remember, the body tag frames the full content of our page. So in our CSS code we are going to add the body tag. Then, we add the function, background color, with the value, either, black, or, sharp 000000, or either, RGB and between brackets, 0, 0, 0. The result will be the same for all 3 methods, so use the one you want. Then let's see this in our browser, after saving the CSS code. Indeed, now, the background of the page is indeed in black, with our title in blue, the paragraph in sky blue, and our name invisible because it is also in black. We could change the color of this one, but it will soon reappear. You should know that the background color function works on all tags, even on any text tags. Do you remember the mark tag? Well, it will work on the same principle. So, in our CSS code, let's introduce the function, background color for the EM tag, and give it the value, silver, for light gray, then save our code, and refresh our page in the browser. Indeed, our name is now on a light gray background, and appears again. We can slightly modify the HTML code, by placing a space before and after our name, in the EM tags, it will frame our name better. Like this. Remember the inheritance, the total content of our page must have a black background, as defined for the body tag, but this is the most accurate code, so the code for the EM tag, which will prevail for the background color of it. Well, Now let's see how it is possible to put an image as a background. If you remember my example, our banner has one image as a background, actually, even two. We'll come back to that in the next part. So, first, we'll define our header, the banner. To define a banner, we will use the tag in pair, header, and /header. Be careful not to confuse it with the head tag, which gives the information of our page to the browser. We are therefore going to frame our title and our paragraph with the header tags, like this, so that they are part of it. Now we need the image for the background of the banner. I'll use this one. And I place it in the subfolder, Content. Now in the CSS code we add the header tag. Then we are going to add the function to it to define its background. To set an image as a background, we will use the function, backgroundImage, to which we indicate as value, URL, and between brackets and quotes, the address of the image. This address can be absolute, HTTP etc., or relative. Attention, the relative address will be in relation to your CSS file, and not to the HTML. In this case, my image is in the contained subfolder, and the CSS code in the main folder, so I have to add the name of the subfolder in the address of the image, followed by the / and the name of the picture, like this. Well, let's add this function to the header tag, then save the two files, and update our browser. Indeed, we have our image as a background for the upper part of our page, the banner, and the rest of the page is black, as defined in the body. Always the legacy. This is already a good part of done, in reality, a very small part, but our site is slowly starting to take shape. In the next part we will see more possibilities for our wallpaper, and how to add shading effects. Thank you for your attention. Katerina and Patrick.